بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الحمد لله تعالى نحمده ونستعين به ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله تبارك وتعالى من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله تعالى فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء، واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم، ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد، فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله تعالى، وأحسن الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم، وشر الأمور محدثاتها، وكل محدثة بدعة، كل بدعة ضلالة، كل ضلالة في النار. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم، وبارك اللهم على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept from everyone. We ask Him subhanahu wa ta'ala, as He allowed us to be in the masjid today, earlier today during the Jum'ah, and tonight, that He subhanahu wa ta'ala would not let us go home before having forgiven all of us, inshallah ta'ala. Innahu waliyu dhalika wal qadiru alayh. And this is one of the bounties that you receive from Darsul Ilm, when a person comes and sits to listen to any lecture of knowledge, the knowledge of the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with His mercy and generosity, lets the malaika bear witness that He has forgiven the people that have attended. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us from such a people. As I promised last week, and I was a little under the weather, that I will speak again and elaborate in the same subject of the khutbah of Jum'ah from last week, where I spoke a little bit about some of the stories of the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala telling us about people of the past that have been punished for their wrongdoings. But before I go into that, we have to always, as a reminder, remind ourselves of the main reason of our creation, and that is that Tawheed. Tawheed is the reason that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the heavens and the earth. The Tawheed is the reason that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put us on this earth, so that we are tested through that Tawheed. How much do we stick to the Tawheed of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And as you know, it comes in three forms: the Tawheed of Al-Uluhiyyah, the deity of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala; the Tawheed of Al-Rububiyyah; and the Tawheed of Al-Asma' Al-Sifat. Al-Rububiyyah is the lordship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Asma' Al-Sifat, the names and the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, incidentally, there are some people in the past Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us about, especially the tribe of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They had some type of tawheed, but the type of tawheed that they had was not enough. They had the tawheed of rububiyyah. وَلَئِنْ سَأَلْتَهُمْ مَنْ خَلَقَ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ لَيَقُولُنَّ اللَّهِ. If you were to ask them who created the heavens and the earth, they will say it is certainly Allah. But the main problem with them is that they had shirk, meaning that they did not have the tawheed of uluhiyyah. They believed in the lordship of Allah. They believed in that He is the owner, the creator, the manager of this universe. But they denied the fact that He is the only deity worthy of worship. And as I explain and I translate, subhanAllah, and incidentally, 2 weeks ago, I don't know if there are any brothers here that were, no, they're not. We went to a church to speak to their congregation about Islam, and I spent a few minutes explaining the word or the name Allah. Why is it the proper way of calling upon the Almighty subhanahu wa ta'ala? Why? First of all, I went into some historic facts. The fact that, subhanAllah, Nuh alayhi salam had one of his children is Sam, and the people that came from Sam are the Semites or the Semitic people, and the Arabs happen to be from the Semites or the Semitic people. As a matter of fact, you guys hear a lot this word anti-Semitism, and anti-Semitism, as people understand it, they think you're just referring to, talking or talking in a negative way, or treating in a negative way the Jewish people. But subhanAllah, they don't understand that the Semites are a lot more than the Jewish people. And as a matter of fact, the very first Semites that emerged from the loins of Sam, one of the children of Nuh alayhi salam. And by the way, Nuh alayhi salam is the second father of humanity. We all know that, right? Nuh alayhi salam is the second father of humanity, meaning that every single person on the face of the earth today comes from Nuh. We all understand that. وَجَعَلْنَا ذُرِّيَّتَهُ هُمُ الْبَاقِينَ, as Allah Ta'ala said in Surah As-Saffat, because after the big flood and all the disbelievers and the idol worshippers perished, and only the believers were saved on the ark of Nuh alayhi salam, Allah made it so that only the children of Nuh were able to procreate, and the others were not. So every single human being on the face of the earth today comes from Nuh. That's what they call him Adam al-Thani, the second Adam. So Sam, one of the children of Nuh, the very first people that emerged from him as a tribe are the people of Hud alayhi salam, who is known in the Bible as Hebert. And these people, they were they spoke the very first Semitic language that emerged, which is the Arabic language. Then after that, other languages or other people from the Semitic descent emerged, just like the Ashurians and the Akkadians and even the Abyssinians, the Habasha. The people of Abyssinia, of Habasha, they are also Semites or Semitic people. And the ones that spoke Syriac and also Aramaic. Aramaic being the language of Isa alayhi salam. Jesus, the son of Mary, peace be upon him, spoke Aramaic. So I explained to these people that, subhanAllah, because you have to kind of make connections and put traces for them to follow, something that they can connect with. SubhanAllah, Isa alayhi salam spoke Aramaic, and Aramaic is very, very close to the Arabic language. At least if you speak Arabic and you listen to Aramaic long enough, you start to understand, because they're very, very similar. So I told, for example, Isa alayhi salam to say my Lord, and look at this, to say my Lord, get it? To say my Lord. Isa alayhi salam used to say my Lord, and they agreed that Isa used to say my Lord. So if he said my Lord, then he's not the Lord. He's a prophet. He used to say my Lord. He used to say Eloi, Eloi. What do we say? Ilahi, right? Eloi, Ilahi, same thing. And if we're to call upon the Almighty, the Creator of the heavens and the earth, Isa alayhi salam said Allah, and we say Allah. So Allah, it's the same thing. They're very close. They're very close, subhanAllah. So these are the Semitic people and the Semitic languages, and subhanAllah, unfortunately, because of things that were lost in translation, and that's the problem, you find that the majority of their scriptures are a combination of different books and different letters and different partitions that they brought together as one book. And most of them were lost in translation because they went from Hebrew, some of them from Aramaic, some of them from Syriac, and they were translated into other languages, to Greek, then to Latin, and then to the Latin languages, the French, Italian, Spanish, and Portuguese. Then they came to the Anglo-Saxon languages and the languages that are close to it, like the Dutch and the German. So a lot of information was lost in translation. A lot of information was lost in translation, unfortunately. And that's what makes the fact that nowadays we have what used to be Islam is Judaism, what used to be Islam is Christianity, and so on and so forth. And that's why, subhanAllah, the Tawheed keeps getting lost. And every time Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends a prophet or a messenger to renew the Tawheed in the hearts of the people. Now, one of the things that we've been afflicted with nowadays because of technology, because of the widespread of research and people being able to do scientific things a lot more than before, we've been afflicted with something that really destroys the Tawheed, especially in the hearts and minds of young people. And that is a phenomenon that they call Mother Nature. And this, since our subject is related to phenomenons that affected nations of the past, and Allah Ta'ala sent punishments on these nations of the past, subhanAllah, and part of our Tawheed is to understand that those things are from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not from any other entity. An entity that is imaginary, doesn't exist, they call it Mother Nature. When there's a hurricane, they say it's Mother Nature. When there's a lot of rain, they say it's Mother Nature. When there's an earthquake or a tsunami, they say it is Mother Nature. Mother Nature does not exist. These are things that only take place by the will, the leave, and the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for a particular purpose and for a particular wisdom. So this is part of the Tawheed of what? Which kind of Tawheed is this one? The Tawheed of Al-Rububiyyah, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one that is the creator, the owner, the manager, the sustainer of the universe. And I veered off kind of speaking about the Semitic people and explaining the word Allah. Why, subhanAllah, the word Allah in of itself, why did I refer to that? Because the Mushrikeen of Quraysh, you tell them if you ask them who created the heavens and the earth, they say Allah, not knowing, and this is their own language, that of the word Allah, as I was explaining to those people in the church, the word Allah has the Tawheed in it. The word Allah has the Tawheed in it because it comes from Ilah, or any deity. Any deity can be called Ilah, and Ilah is the accurate and the correct translation of God. God can be translated as Ilah, and it's accurate because you can make it into plural, you can make it feminine, you can make changes to it, whereas Allah, you cannot make changes to it. And also the verb aliha, aliha is to worship, So you look at the word Allah, or the name Allah, it has the Tawheed in it because Allah means the only one worthy of worship. That's why it is, subhanAllah, strange that these people, that the Mushrikeen of Quraysh, they pronounce this name, this blessed name, they say it, but subhanAllah, they've gone away from the Tawheed. And the most important Tawheed is the one of Tawheed of the deity, of Uluhiyyah, subhanAllah. Because if you don't have that, you have nothing. And that's why, as the Prophet ﷺ foretold about the Mushrikeen and the leaders of Quraysh that passed away and got killed in the battle of Uhud and the battle of Badr before that they will be from the people of the hellfire, because even though they believed in the Lordship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but they denied the Tawheed, the Wahdaniyah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Surah Al-Hadid, قال الله تعالى ما أصاب من مصيبة في الأرض ولا في أنفسكم إلا في كتاب من قبل أن نبرأها إن ذلك على الله يسير. Allah Ta'ala says that there is no calamity that takes place in the earth or in your own selves, in your own lives, except that it is in a clear register, in a book that Allah Ta'ala has written 50,000 years before He created the heavens and the earth. It's there. It's written there before we make it come to pass. And Allah Ta'ala goes on to say something amazing. إِنَّ ذَلِكَ عَلَى اللَّهِ يَسِيرٌ. Now imagine, can you imagine any of the creation of Allah being able to do this, being able to have this kind of knowledge? But yet for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala it is pretty easy. Surah Al-Taghabun قال سبحانه وتعالى ما أصاب من مصيبة إلا بإذن الله ومن يؤمن بالله يهدي قلبه والله بكل شيء عليم. There is no calamity or hardship that takes place except it is by Allah's leave, it is by Allah's will and by Allah's permission. And whoever believes in Allah, Allah Ta'ala will give guidance to his heart. And Allah Ta'ala is all knowing. So Allah Ta'ala makes it clear to us in many places in the Quran that there is no calamity that takes place anywhere in the world except that it is with the permission of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. As a matter of fact, there is no leaf that falls from a tree anywhere on the face of this earth except that Allah Ta'ala knows about it, knows exactly which one, knows exactly what time. And He has written this before created the heavens and the earth 50,000 years before that. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also tells us that these calamities that take place, it is because of what our hands put forth. Allah Ta'ala Surah Al-Shura قال سبحانه وتعالى وما أصابكم من مصيبة فبما كسبت أيديكم ويعفو عن كثير. Whatever calamity happens to you, befalls you, it is with that which your hands put forth, and Allah Ta'ala forgives many. That means He does not hold us, takes us upon every sin that we do. Otherwise, we'll be all gone, we'll be all destroyed, because all of us are sinners by nature. We sin on a daily basis, and we all know that about ourselves, subhanAllah. But Allah Ta'ala overlooks many of our sins and many of our transgressions. The Prophet ﷺ said, كل ابن آدم خطاء وخير الخطائين التوابون. All the sons of Adam are sinners. They fall in error, and the best of sinners are the ones that constantly repent. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us from those people that constantly repent. Now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has informed us about some people that He let them go with their sin, let them go with their transgressions for a while, and then when He subhanahu wa ta'ala took them, He took them with force and took them all of a sudden in a way that they did not imagine. And similarly, Allah Ta'ala informed us about those people that I talked about in Al-Jumu'ah, the last Jumu'ah, the people of As-Sabt. And I wanted to bring that up again, because subhanAllah, as you know, in the khutbah of Jumu'ah, no matter how much you try to rush, you always tend to go over the half an hour, and I really try to keep it at half an hour so not to bring hardship to people that go to work. But at the same time, I have a message to deliver, and I have to deliver it. So it puts me in a tough situation a lot of times. But subhanAllah, in these settings of a lecture, we have a little bit more leeway, we have a little bit more time to work with. So inshallah ta'ala, that's why I wanted to bring the subject up a little bit to kind of develop it a little more if we can, inshallah ta'ala. So these are people that Allah Ta'ala informed us about from the people of Musa alayhi salam that were living by the sea. They were living by the sea, and their livelihood was on hunting, big game hunting, what? Fishing. Alright. Their livelihood was on fishing. And of course, subhanAllah, many of them were transgressors, many of them were oppressors. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to afflict them and test them. And what is, subhanAllah, and whenever you speak to people who like fishing, just as a sport or as a hobby, you notice that whenever they are by a body of water anywhere and they see fish, it's like something is itching them. It is something that they just can't handle it. Oh, look at that. Oh, look how big it is. I wish I had my stuff. It's just the way it is. People, and these are people that just take fishing as a hobby. Now imagine the people that this is their livelihood. This is their livelihood. So Allah Ta'ala really tested them the way that they're supposed to be tested. SubhanAllah, they were going about their business fishing, normally bringing in a fish for their families. And all of a sudden, they go with their boats to the high seas, they put their nets, they wait and wait, they come up with nothing. There is no more fish. So obviously this was a source of hardship for them. Now subhanAllah, Allah made it so, as you know with the Israelites, that they're not supposed to work the Sabbath. And by the way, they are the ones that requested this. And I mentioned this in the khutbah of Jumu'ah. This is something that by talking to people, a lot of people did not know. They thought it was just a decree from Allah, but it was actually them that came to Musa alayhi salam and asked him to be given a day in which they will sit at home and worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And as I told you in that Jumu'ah, Musa alayhi salam told them Friday. Jumu'ah is a good day, it is a blessed day. And he started telling them the many virtues of Al-Jumu'ah. But they said, no, this is the nature of Banu Israel. They always, subhanAllah, have a different opinion. They always want to give a different opinion, and they end up being the ones losing, just like what happened with the story of Al-Baqarah, the heifer. Musa a.s. came and told them, hey, you just slaughter Al-Baqarah, you slaughter Al-Baqarah, and that's it, the end of story. You'll be able to find out who is the murderer of that man, Amin or there are different narrations with his name. But they started asking the questions, what kind of heifer, what color is it? Until subhanAllah, in some of our cultures, and now in our culture in Morocco, when something is complicated, what do we say? ما هي وما لونها, right? We say ما هي ما لونها. When something is really complicated, when someone is asking too many questions, we say that. We say, oh, ما هي وما لونها. This is like too complicated. So it becomes part of our culture to say that because of the complication of these people. Of course, none of the Israelites that followed Musa a.s. were bad. There were some righteous ones, as we will see in our story. Now these people, they argued about the day of Friday, so they were given Saturday because they're the ones who requested Saturday. So it became known as the Sabbath, where they could not work, they had to stay at home. So subhanAllah, Allah Ta'ala afflicted them with the fact that on the Sabbath, they come out, their village is right by the water, right there. They look from their windows or they come out to the water, and subhanAllah, fish everywhere, every shape and size you can think of is right there. All they have to do is reach and grab it. So Allah, it's not an easy affliction. It is a tough test. Knowing the fact that, subhanAllah, like I said, people who like fishing, they cannot pass up the opportunity of seeing any fish in the water. They want to grab it. Let alone the fish is right there, swimming, looking at you, and Allah said, shurra'a, as Allah said in the Quran. Shurra'a means sticking their heads out of the water, looking right at them. Subhanallah. All they have to do is grab or just put any kind of net, and they have plenty of fish. But subhanallah, the minute the sun sets on the Sabbath, they go looking for fish, they go out to the sea, they find nothing whatsoever. A big affliction, subhanallah. So some of them got together. This is we have to find a solution for our problem. We have to find a solution for our problem. And they decided to, one of them came up with that trick, a way to cut corners with Allah, a loophole, if you will, that we're going to put our nets, and other narrations said that we're going to put our nets and then put some small streams that come into little pools that are by our homes to trap the fish. This way the fish will be lured into the place on the Sabbath. We're staying at home not doing nothing, we're not working. And then on Sunday, we'll come and we collect the spoils of that, subhanAllah. And cutting corners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, looking for loopholes, unfortunately. But unfortunately, you find this also today with this ummah. There are people that cut corners with Allah. They name things, they give them different names. For example, the ones that drink alcohol, this is not al-khamr, this is not alcohol. هذه مشروبات روحية. These are spiritual drinks. There's nothing wrong with that. And besides, Allah did not say it's haram. He says فاجتنبوه. I mean, this is فاجتنبوه. That doesn't mean it's haram. Just stay away from it. Well, فاجتنبوه is more than haram. I mean that if you see alcohol on that side, walk on the other side. Stay completely clear of it. That's what فاجتنبوه. But they say, no, this is فاجتنبوه. I mean, stay away from it. It doesn't say haram. Does it say it's haram? SubhanAllah. So there are people in this ummah that try to cut corners with Allah. This is not interest. Interest is not the riba. I've had people tell me that. I've had a person tell me, listen to this. He says, interest actually is the opposite of riba. Allah said, وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِلزَّكَاةِ فَاعِلُونَ وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِلزَّكَاةِ فَاعِلُونَ. The ones that do zakat, it's clear. But he said, that's his own translation, because there are people in this ummah that like to do their own tafsir. He's his own mufassir. He's his own mufassir of Quran. I don't need that. I don't need someone to Ibn Kathir or who are these people? I don't know them to come tell me what Allah says in the Quran. I don't have a brain. I can do my own tafsir. وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِلزَّكَاةِ فَاعِلُونَ. The zakat means the economical development. That's what zakat means. And what interest brings to society is exactly that. So interest is the zakat. It is not the riba that is mentioned in the Quran. It's something completely different. So there are many people in this ummah that, subhanAllah, do exactly what the people of the Sabt do. And this is the reason why Allah Ta'ala put this story in the Quran, so that our ummah, the ummah of Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, does not fall in the same problem, the same category. Now, these people started doing that. They got their own fish. You know how you do the wrong thing, and someone does the wrong thing the first time, he's like jittery, he's unsure, he's waiting for something to happen. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala let it go. Didn't do anything to them. So they brought the fish, they sold some of it, they started cooking it. The other people that were not aware of this started smelling. Where is this coming from? And immediately they came and found out, and they understood you were fishing on the day you were not supposed to fish. And they started telling them, Attaqullah. This is exactly what Allah Ta'ala forbade you from doing. Allah is going to punish you. But these people, they started doing it every single week. And as every week goes on, and nothing happens to them, what happens? They get bolder. They get bolder. Until they started saying it clearly, there's no punishment of Allah. That's a myth. This is from, didn't Allah talk about this? Asatirul Awwaleen. This is just from the myths and the tales of the people of the past. It doesn't exist anymore. That's happened with our ancestors. But when it comes to us, look, we've been doing it for a while, and nothing happened. There is no punishment. There is no punishment. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala let that go for a while. Allah ta'ala told us in the Quran, وَاسْأَلْهُمْ عَنِ الْقَرْيَةِ الَّتِي كَانَتْ حَضِرَةَ الْبَحْرِ. And ask them about the village that was right by the sea. إِذْ يَعْدُونَ فِي السَّبْتِ. They transgress in the matter of the Sabbath. إِذْ تَأْتِيهِمْ حِيتَانُهُمْ يَوْمَ سَبْتِهِمْ شُرَّعًا. The fish will come to them, will come in at a clear sight, sticking their heads out of the water on the day of their Sabbath. But the day that they have no Sabbath, it does not come. They cannot find it. It's nowhere to be found. كَذَلِكَ لَبِلُوهُمْ بِمَا كَانُوا يَفْسُقُونَ. This is the thing. Why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala afflict them? لأنهم كانوا قوما فاسقين. Because they were transgressors, they were oppressors, they were people of fisq, وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ. So this went on for a while, and like I said, if you remember the khutbah of Jum'ah, the village split into three categories. The first category that is doing the fishing, the second category that's telling them, fear Allah, this is wrong, Allah Ta'ala is going to punish you, and the third category, the spectators, and they were not just any regular spectators. Usually when you're a spectator, you're watching, but these are spectators, but when they hear you, when they hear the second category, giving advice to the first category, what do? What are you doing this for? وَمَا أَكْثَرَهُمْ فِي أُمَّتِنَا. Our ummah today is full of people like that. They don't do the right thing, and if you try to call people to the right thing, they try to stop you. And subhanAllah, we have them in every country and every culture. Hey, what are you doing? Mind your own business. They're free to do whatever they want. Are you gonna أنت هتصلح الكون? Our friends in Egypt, they say, أنت هتصلح الكون? Are you gonna fix the whole universe? Mind your own business. SubhanAllah, امشي جنب الحيط. Walk by the wall. This is why you're protected. SubhanAllah, they do not want people to give advice. Allah Ta'ala said, وَإِذْ قَالَتْ أُمَّةٌ مِّنْهُمْ لِمَ تَعِظُونَ قَوْمًا اللَّهُ مُهْلِكُهُمْ أَوْ مُعَذِّبُهُمْ عَذَابًا شَدِيدًا. Some of them, and part of them, said, why do you advise the people? Why would you waste your time advising these people? Well, Allah is going to destroy them, or He's going to bring a severe punishment on them. But the answer, subhanAllah, and this answer, ya ikhwa, we should all have this answer in our hearts. Wallahi, if we meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, without having this particular answer in our hearts, at least having the intention of it, Allah Ta'ala is going to ask us. قَالُوا مَعْذِرَةً إِلَىٰ رَبِّكُمْ وَلَعَلَّهُمْ يَتَّقُونَ. Wallahi, Allah is going to ask us about this one. And that's why they said, مَعْذِرَةً إِلَىٰ رَبِّكُمْ. At least we will have at least discharged our duty towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. At least we have tried. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not going to hold anyone accountable on the results. Because the results of guidance are not in your hands or my hands. The results of guidance when it comes to your own children, or your family members, or the total strangers, Allah is not going to ask you about the results. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to ask you about the effort. And remember, that which you think was a big enough effort might not be so. You have to be aware of that. Allah Ta'ala knows what's in your heart. He knows exactly what's in your heart before you know it yourself. And He will know if you put forth the effort that is necessary. Meaning that you did everything that you were able to. Everything in your power to make a difference, to make an impact, to help people, whether it is your own children or your family members or other people, towards the guidance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah ta'ala will know your effort. So we have to be aware of that. So these people went on for a while doing this until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala all of a sudden one morning, and by the way, they put a wall between them. The people of righteousness decided to put a wall between them and the other people, because they knew that the punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will come down on them sooner or later, and they did not want to be part of that. And one day, sure enough, they wake up in the morning, and the regular everyday commotion that they hear behind the wall, they did not hear it. They started thinking to themselves, did our neighbors oversleep, or what happened? SubhanAllah, they waited, and they got curious and they climbed the wall, and SubhanAllah, then there was the surprise that SubhanAllah, the young people of that part of the village were turned into apes, and the older people were turned into into swine. نعوذ بالله من ذلك. And this is what they call al-masakh, as the Prophet ﷺ talks about it. قال صلى الله عليه وسلم الحيات مسخ الجن كما مسخت القردة والخنازير من بني إسرائيل. وهذا يعني به من بعض بني إسرائيل، يعني مش بني إسرائيل كلهم. The Prophet ﷺ says that the snakes are the masakh, the mutation of a jinn. That's why, ya ikhwa, when you have a snake in your house, or you have a snake in your yard, and you feel that the snake is a threat, what do? Do you just go get an axe or something and start swinging away, or what do you do? I'm Khamis, the killer of snakes in this property. The snake slayer, mashallah. What do you do? Yeah, you invoke the name of Allah and you tell the snake that, that leave us be, and I'm giving you time to go, and give it time to leave, because it could be one of these, a mutation of the jinn, because the jinn they mutate into snakes, because one of the Sahaba saw a snake in his house and killed it, and he died right on the spot, because there were other jinn with that jinn that looked like a snake, and they killed him on the spot. So we have to be aware of that, as the Prophet ﷺ explains to us that the hayat, the snakes, are the mutation of the jinn. And he said that some of the Israelites that transgressed the limits of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala turned them into apes and swine, and they died after 3 days. Allah ta'ala said, وَقَدْ عَلِمْتُمْ الَّذِينَ اعْتَدَوْا فِي السَّبْتِ مِنْكُمْ فِي السَّبْتِ فَقُلْنَا لَهُمْ كُونُوا قِرَدَةً خَاسِئِينَ نَعُوذُ بِاللَّهِ مِنْ ذَلِكَ. Now, subhanAllah, what I wanted to get to, and subhanAllah, I already took plenty of time, and I wanted to tackle the story of Qarun a little bit too. But subhanAllah, since we don't have that much time anymore, then I will talk a little bit about this particular phenomenon of al-masakh and khasf when it comes to our ummah. Now the question that poses itself: are the Muslims immune from this? Are they protected from this? I mean, is it possible that Muslims, if they fall into the same transgressions, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will punish them the same way? You tell me, what do you think? Are the Muslims immune, or it could possibly happen to them? It could happen to them. The ones that hold on to the life of this world, the ones that have forgotten about Allah, the ones that are Muslims only by name, and Islam is not something that we practice in a masjid once a week or a few times a week, but Islam, deen. The real translation of the word deen is way of life. It is something that you live. It is a system that you live, whether in the masjid or outside, in university or at work. You are a Muslim. That means, and I mentioned this around the khutbah of Jumu'ah, you are a slave and a servant of Allah. That means that if you want to take a step, what do? You ask your master and your Lord and your Creator, the one that you are a slave to, my Lord, can I take this step or not? He says, yes, you take it. He says, no, you don't move. Then you ask him, how do you want me to take this step? Which translates to, we don't do anything in our lives without finding out what is the hukm shari, the hukm of Allah and His Messenger pertaining to that particular matter. Whoever, and I said this in the khutbah of Jumu'ah, you're either a follower of the Quran and the Sunnah, or you are a follower of your hawa. It's either or. There is nothing in between. It's either the Quran and the Sunnah or the hawa. And subhanAllah, the life of this world is not worth it. It goes on, it passes by so quickly. Might as well be on the safe side and be a follower of the Quran and the Sunnah. That will give you safety and make you as a person a source of safety for your own self and for your surrounding. You will not find a true follower of the Quran and the Sunnah harming people in any way, shape, or form. You will not find a true follower of the Quran and the Sunnah going out there to cheat people. You will not find a true follower of the Quran and the Sunnah going out there and lying to people and bashing people and making fun of people's backgrounds, making fun of other people's religion. You will not find that. Someone who follows the Quran and the Sunnah is one that subhanAllah attains peace with himself and his creator and with his surrounding. النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال في ما أخرجه الترمذي: الدنيا ملعون ما فيها إلا ذكر الله وما والاه. سبحان الله. وزاد في رواية وعالما أو متعلما. سبحان الله. So the life of this world, as the Prophet says, ملعون, is cursed, and what's in it is cursed, except the remembrance of Allah and what comes with it, the salah and all the implications of La ilaha illallah, and then either a student of knowledge or someone who is teaching the knowledge, someone who is teaching. والنبي صلى الله عليه وسلم كذلك قال في ما أخرجه الترمذي كذلك من حديث سهل سبحان الله قال صلى الله عليه وسلم: لو كانت الدنيا تعديل عند الله جناح بعوضة ما سقى منها كافرا شربة ماء. سبحان الله. أو ما سقى كافرا منها شربة ماء. أو شربة ماء، فكلاهما صحيح، شربة أو شربة. وشربة يعني أبلغ، شربة ماء أبلغ. The Prophet said, if this dunya, listen to this, if the life of this world was worth the wing of a bug, the wing of an insect, of a mosquito, in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then He would not give a disbeliever a sip of water to drink. Now subhanAllah, this hadith alone will require a couple of lectures to really contemplate on it. Because look at this. If I brought you the wing of a mosquito and gave it to you, oh, this is a gift for you, what would you say? Are you serious? You'd probably be inclined to hit that person. Are you mocking me? What are you doing? It's the wing of a mosquito. It's not worth anything. So in the eyes of Allah, that wing of a mosquito, subhanAllah, has more worth than the life of this world. Imagine that. And if the life of this world was worthy at all in the eyes of Allah, then the ones that do not say La ilaha illallah, the ones that don't believe in the one that created them in the first place, the one that gave them their life, their eyesight, their hearing, their heartbeat, and the one that sustains them and feeds them every day as long as they're alive, they still choose not to believe in Him, to deny His existence, Allah will not even give them a sip of water. That's why in the life that is worth something in the eyes of Allah, which is the life of the akhirah, the life of the hereafter, these people, the ones that did not say La ilaha illallah, the ones that died on kufr, would they get a sip of water? The last sip of water that they took is the last one that they had before they died in the life of this world. That is it. They will never, ever get another sip of water. SubhanAllah, this is for eternity. Na'udhu billahi min dhalik. So, that is why the Prophet ﷺ said that. So, this ummah, would this happen in this ummah? The khas and mask and all those things? Yes, indeed, it will happen. The Prophet ﷺ, قال صلى الله عليه وسلم, حديث سهل بن سعد الساعدي رضي الله عنه قال صلى الله عليه وسلم: يكون في هذه الأمة خسف ومسخ وقذف. قيل: ومتى ذلك يا رسول الله؟ قال: إذا ظهرت القينات والمعازف. سبحان الله. واستحلت الخمور. Ya Allah. Clear. The Prophet ﷺ said, hadith of Sahl, he said, at the end of the age of this ummah, there will be khasf. The khasf will be explained that Allah causes the earth to open up and to swallow people, there will be khasf, there will be masakh, which is mutation or transformation, and there will be also qadf, which is hail from the sky. Someone said, "O Messenger of Allah, when would that take place?" He said, when the people take female singers. Ya Allah, look at the Muslim world. It's all female singers. They don't just sing anymore. I mean, they have, subhanAllah, they have what they call videos or video clips or something like that on TV, where they come dressed in the worst possible way. You said, this is the Ummah of Muhammad? This is the Ummah of Muhammad? Wallahi, I was telling one of our brothers who were texting, that my mother told me, listen to this, that there's this female singer, they show her in one of those videos, she's just getting out of her own bed, wearing her bedroom clothes, and then barely dressed, and she's saying in her song that she dreamt of the Prophet ﷺ, that the Prophet came to her in her dream. She had a manam where the Prophet ﷺ came and talked to her. Ya Allah, the Prophet ﷺ starts coming to these people now? This is how bad it is. The Prophet ﷺ talks about that. The female singers, they become rampant. They're everywhere. And people start using musical instruments. And I had a few people come talk to me after the khutbah about they're debating or asking if music is haram. And inshallah ta'ala, if you guys want, I will do a whole lecture, or we'll bring proofs. We talk about the subject of music. Is it haram or is it halal? And obviously it is haram. It is not from the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. It is one of the things that destroyed the creed and the deen of this ummah. And then he said that alcohol will become legal and permissible. Of course, we changed the name from al-khamr to mashrubat ruhiyya, spiritual drinks, spiritual beverages, and we say, look, it's not haram, we can drink it, subhanAllah. Look at the result of that in the society that we're living in. Look how many young people from this country lose their lives on a daily basis because of cases of DUI, because they are intoxicated, because they drink and they go out there and they kill themselves on the highway. SubhanAllah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not make things unlawful and haram to make life difficult for us, but rather He subhanahu wa ta'ala does so to protect us, to protect our society, to protect our way of life. And then close with another hadith, inshaAllah ta'ala, Surah Ibn Majah, Abu Malik al-Ash'ari, قال صلى الله عليه وسلم لا يشربن ناس من أمتي الخمر يسمونها بغير اسمها. There you go. يسمونها بغير اسمها. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. يعزف على رؤوسهم المعازف. يعزف على رؤوسهم المعازف. والمغنيات يخسف الله بهم الأرض ويجعل منهم القردة والخنازير. أهي أنتم يا سبحان الله، هذا كلام الصادق المصدوق الذي لا ينطق عن الهوى. The Prophet ﷺ said, this is Sunan Ibn Majah, and on the authority of Abu Malik al-Ash'ari, the Prophet ﷺ said, some people from my ummah will certainly drink alcohol. They will give it a different name. They will give it a different name. While they will be listening to music and watching singing women. Listening to music, watching singing women. Allah will cause the earth to swallow them, and He will turn them into apes and swine. Ya Allah. There you go. In the Ummah of Muhammad, that which took place with the people of As-Sabt from the village Ayla, the village of Bani Israel, the same thing will take place with this Ummah. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect us. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us from the ones that when they hear the speech, they follow the best of it. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك والحمد لله رب العالمين وجزاكم الله خيرا. Why is it with someone crying? Who is this guy that made her cry? I will take care of him today. I will